Hi folks, and welcome to the Transgendered Chef. I am the Transgendered Chef, Diana Clarion. The soups are really good food. On a cold winter's day, there's nothing like a warm bowl of soup to get you through it. And one of my favorite soups happens to be lentil soup. And that's what I'm going to be making today. So, why don't we have a look at what's going into this stuff? First of all, we've got 2 pounds of the obligatory lentils. Wouldn't be lentil soup without lentils, now would it? We have 4 large onions, and yes, I did say 4. I rather like onions. Onions are tasty and yummy. And 8 cloves of garlic. Also a fan of garlic, if you couldn't tell. And then we have 3 rather decently sized potatoes. As soon as I pick it up off the floor, we'll have 4 carrots and a rutabaga. Now, a rutabaga is a brassica, and as such is a relative of cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, that sort of thing. It's a nice starch to go into a food that needs, where you can put potatoes, you can put rutabagas very easily, and the best thing about these is they're loaded with vitamin C. Good stuff for you. And as long as we're talking about brassicas, let's get into the 3 heads of broccoli, which make a really fine addition to this lentil soup. And also a ham bone with the meat still attached. And since I like ham, I really do like ham, I'm going to put in some actual ham meat. I've got about 1 pound over here. And that's going to get cut up and thrown into the good old lentil soup. It's going to make it really nutritious and delicious. As well as that, we're going to have some nice spices. We're going to have some basil. We're going to have some oregano. We're going to have some caraway. You can also use cumin if you'd like. The caraway is a lighter flavor, and the cumin is a little heavier, a little more toward the hot side. I love them both, but I got caraway so little earlier in my years. I happen to just like to throw this stuff into just about anything that'll take it. That's me. Have a little bit of cayenne, just a tiny touch. Give that a nice little edge on it, and then some parsley, which will go into our wonderful stuff here. Now, of course, these aren't going to go in just as they are. That would be kind of dumb. So, next thing we're going to do is do some hacking and chopping. Let's get to work on that. Okay then, with all the hacking and chopping going on, we're going to be considering the use of the hacking and chopping tool, good old knife. This is a chef's knife, so-called in reference to its shape. Great all-purpose knife. Great for cutting veggies, which we're going to be doing a whole lot of. And the one thing that we want to make sure when we're using a knife is that we've got it really nice and sharp. You don't want to try to use a dull knife because you're going to end up regretting it. Knife is going to slip off whatever you're trying to cut, and it's still going to be sharp enough to do a job on your fingers, which is not very comfortable. So, a couple things to do here. Okay, first of all, as a gross sharpening or keeping sharp method, we've got this little guy. Love this thing. It is a pair of ceramic discs. that over which the knife is drawn to give it a rough sharpening. And to aid in that, there's a V-shaped groove to give your knife the correct angle in relation to the sharpening discs, stone if you want to call it that. To use this guy, just take the knife into the V-shaped groove, starting at the heel. Okay. Tilt it over to one side, and with a little pressure on it, draw it back from heel to tip. Go to the other side, draw it back, heel to tip. Do that a couple more times, maybe 3 or 4 times. You don't have to do this very often. This is the kind of thing you're going to do only every few weeks, because the rough sharpening will hold for a good time. And besides that, what you really want is the finer honing of the blade. And that's accomplished this little tool here, known as a steel. My babka actually had a stone that she used to hone the blade. What you're actually doing, the steel of the blade consists of crystals. They're long sets of molecules of iron with the carbon trapped in the lattice. These form crystals which we want to align perpendicularly to the blade, and the steel is great for doing that. Now let me get on the other side of this. Give my hands a little place to work here. What we'll do is what all of the YouTube sites tell you not to do, because they call it showing off. And if it's showing off, then my babka showed off all her life. And she was a fine woman, a fine cook. I don't think she was doing any showing off. You'll start again from the heel, then to the tip. You'll draw back and down on one side of the blade, keeping the basic angle that you had when you were doing the gross sharpening. You'll come around the other side, again from heel to tip, and then repeat over on the top, heel to tip, back, heel to tip. And when you're doing this in practice, you'll go with a little better of a cadence. You'll actually want the knife to sing. It's really no big deal here. And this motion aligns those steel crystals. Really puts an edge on the blade. And this you're going to want to do every time you use the knife, or every couple of times. You definitely want to keep everything aligned, because when you're doing the work on, say, a chopping block, you're going to be pressing down onto the chopping block, and you're going to get the crystals out of alignment again. You're going to bend them over. Not a good thing for the blade. Not at least as far as keeping it sharp. I mean, of course, it's going to happen to the blade just in manner of working on it, but you don't want to. You don't want this to be off kilter, if you want to put it that way. Let's start picking up things, and let's start doing the chopping. Let's get to work on that. Okay, then we'll start with chopping up the onion, and this is going to be into cubes, maybe about a 1/2 inch on a side. Get some nice surface area going, and to do that, there are a number of ways you can do it, and some of them get pretty messy and onion pieces going all over the place. One thing I've found that I really like doing here that kind of keeps things all in one place is, okay, cut the flower end from the onion, give you a flat working spot, but leave the root end intact. What we'll do is start by making parallel cuts, not quite to the root end. Just cutting down. And you'll notice how reasonably easily this knife is going through the onion because it's nice and sharp. Okay, we've got a little bit more cutting here to do. Like so. Now we've got these parallel cuts. Next thing we'll do is rotate the onion 90 degrees and make the same sort of parallel cuts that we did the first time across those first cuts. And as we're doing this, we're not cutting down to the root end, so that piece at the root end is, for the most part, I mean, holding things together. Yeah, there are a few things that are coming off, and that will happen. But for the most part, things are holding on. Now for the pièce de résistance, rotate that another 90 degrees and cut across all of the cuts you made originally. Lo and behold, look at that, cubed up onion. And that makes short work of the onions hacking and chopping at any rate. Now, as you can see, I didn't get quite all the way down, so I'll go back over the cuts and cut them a little further. Let's get things going here. Just cutting up and using up all of the onion here. And after we've done this, I'm going to put the nice pieces into a nice bowl, and we're going to come back over and do the remaining onions in quite the same way. Okay, you've got that all taken apart there, and this, once we get these into a bowl, let's see where we are. We can get this little guy over here. Just sort of brush all these onion pieces into yon lovely bowl. See, like so. Yay, 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 yay. And now finish the hacking and the chopping here. Just taking at everything and getting it pieced up nicely, like so. And trying to do this in such a way that I don't end up with fingers in the soup. That doesn't taste good, at least not on this particular recipe here. Okay. And you can also, by the way, brush the onion pieces into the bowl with the knife, but when you do that, you want to use the back of the knife, not the blade. You don't want to screw the blade up. You spend all that time honing it, getting it nice and sharp. So you don't want to make a mess of it. And okay, what I will do is take up my steel, give it another couple passes, and then we'll take care of the other onions, get them into a bowl, and keep moving on. Alright, the onion is all nicely chopped and sitting in a bowl, and it's time to mince the garlic. To mince the garlic, we've got to get the skin, the paper, off the individual cloves, and then go through the mincing operation. Now, a lot of people find peeling garlic to be rather frustrating. It doesn't have to be, really, especially if you have fingernails. The thing you want to do is take the clove of garlic in your fingers and squeeze while rolling a little bit. And what you're doing here is you're stressing the paper and cracking it such that you can get your fingernail underneath and just start peeling away. And if the garlic is quite fresh, paper will come off in large pieces like this, and it won't be a problem at all, really. And then, of course, we'll cut the ends where the individual cloves were attached to the plate, forming the head of garlic. These are the 8 cloves of garlic I referenced at the beginning of this show here. Yeah, I like garlic. As I say in my Twitter account, I'm a fan of peanut butter and garlic sandwiches. So, you know, how much more a fan of garlic can you get? Well, you can get to be a little bit more of a fan of garlic because I also chew on cloves of garlic to relieve stuffed noses. Okay, now, line these guys up. So one of the things we're going to have to do is relieve this garlic of its rather bulbous shape. Easy way to do that is with our friend the knife. We just go smash, smash, and send the garlic everywhere. That's what we do. Okay, we get those 3 guys, and I think I had to go looking for some more garlic, because I had 8 cloves originally, and I think I only count 6. Yes, you get all the outtakes. There we are. Look at that, look at that, look at that. With all that done, tip of the knife on the board and rotate it down onto the cloves of garlic, keeping them in a pile, as close to a pile as one can get. This is rather roughly chopped. We'll go a little finer. And I am using the blade end for the brushing here because I'm also cutting as I'm doing that. There's always an exception that proves the rule. Okay, we got this done fairly nicely. Just get this into a lovely bowl, and how do you like that? Okay, and with the aromatics done, now we can get on to the starches. Little potato here. You can peel it if you want. I usually don't, mainly because most of the nutritious goodness is right under the skin. So just scrubbing the potatoes to get any dirt off is great. Knock off any eyes that you may find, any the beginnings of growth of stems, because the alkaloids that are in potatoes in tiny quantities, which in larger quantities would be rather deleterious to human health, do tend to accumulate right beneath the stems as they start growing, as the roots begin to sprout from the eyes. Get those out of there. You really don't want to eat that stuff. Not good for you. Okay. Potato, it's easy. Really it is. I'm not going to bother with any root and stem end nonsense. We'll just make a few slices. There we are. And we will make a few more slices across the slices we just made. And now we have short French fry arrangements here, and cut those into smaller pieces. Just pick them up and go cutting away. Not a difficult thing really. It's just a little time consuming, but hey, it's all for the soup. Really it is, and it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be tasty and nutritious and delicious, as I've said so many times before. Okay, we've got a couple French fries over there. Now we don't have any French fries. We have cube fries, or whatever you want to call those. We'll get those potatoes done. And once the potatoes are all nicely cut up, we will just move on to the next operation. How do you like that? All right, we've got those looking pretty good, huh? Okay then, let's find a bowl. Yeah, one thing you want, if you're going to do any amount of cooking at all, you want a whole bunch of bowls around. So make sure you grab a whole bunch, because you're going to end up using them. Potato is done. Yeah, you say potato, I say potato. Rutabaga next. Now, I did not peel the potatoes. I will peel the rutabaga. Reason is, look at this, this waxy peel here. It's rather tough. Doesn't taste very good. It doesn't chew very well. So, just a matter of thinly slicing that peel off. And you see the white material of the root beneath the skin. I'm not as practiced at peeling as I used to be. I could do this fairly quickly, fairly thin peeling. I mean, as you see, I can do some slices of it, but it's a matter of getting the touch back, really. We'll just keep on peeling this and come on to the next step in just a little bit. And there we are. We have the rutabaga peeled, and as I've been peeling it, I've been getting that wonderful cabbage type aroma coming up into the nostrils. It's a beautiful thing, especially for someone who was raised by Eastern Europeans as I was. Always a lot of cabbage around the house. Let's cut this dried top away, and everything else is pretty good. Now we got that nice flat end, we can just put that over there. And it's just a simple matter of cubing this guy. Yeah, you could say that when it comes to lentil soup, I'm something of a cubist. No, huh? Okay. And we've got that into those slabs. Cut across the slabs. And then we'll just cut these into rather thin sections. Yeah, this is going to take some simmering. So you do want to help that along by keeping the pieces rather small. It's a little more difficult to simmer, or a little longer to simmer than a potato. If you've ever used kohlrabi in a recipe, kohlrabi is very similar to rutabaga. As a matter of fact, kohlrabi is another brassica. Brassicas are everywhere. It is quite possible that brassicas produce more edible varieties than just about any other species of plant, because these are all the same species. They're all the same species of plant. It's just different varieties, different cultivars that were selected for various features. The cabbages were selected for terminal buds. Brussels sprouts were selected for lateral buds. The cauliflower was selected for flower heads, and these were also the broccoli for the flower heads. Yeah, you've got all kinds of stuff going on with the brassicas. Okay, we've got all that done. Let's get right on the carrots. These guys. We'll cut those into reasonably sized pieces. We don't want really, really, really thin slices. Put that down over there. But at the same time, we don't want to cut the carrot in half and leave it at that. So, just, maybe an inch or so. Let's get these guys cut. And it would be so nice if I had a better studio, something more like, Jeff Smith-ish or something like that. But hey, this works. So let's, keep on cutting, keep on trucking, and then the next piece, the next bit of what we need to do. And now, for this stage of the stuff, we come to the wonderful, wonderful ham. Now, putting in this pound of ham is optional. I do it because I rather like ham. It's good stuff. You can, if you want, just go with the ham bone with some of the meat on it. That'll give it a nice ham seasoning, nice ham flavor. But as I say, I'm a ham freak here. So I'm just going to cube the ham up. I may have mentioned already, this is a bit over a pound. I think it might be about 1.25 pounds. That's just, it's just fine because we're going to have a heck of a lot of soup going here. So it's not like the ham is going to overwhelm anything. It'll just fit in nicely. Got all that there. And one of the things I do, and this is me, I will go to the local cheap grocery store and pick up their shoulder hams when they are when they're cheap. And when I'm saying cheap, I'm saying about $1 a pound or so. The only thing I wish I had was a chest freezer, such that I could get about 30 pounds of ham at a time. Or another thing I wish I could get, into a chest freezer is, maybe half a dozen turkeys, that sort of thing. Because in later episodes, I'm going to be demonstrating what one can do with leftover turkey. Now, this is not leftover ham. As I say, I bought a ham expressly for use in, soups, other recipes like that. That fits into the freezer, and at $1 a pound, I just couldn't pass that up. It's always nice to look for things like that and try to keep costs down, all kinds of good stuff. Okay, kids, we are done with this stage. Now, we've still got a little bit of stuff to cut up. That's going to come later. Not too much later. It'll be on its way. So now, let's get to work beginning the assembly of this soup. Let's do it. All right, kids, here we go. We're starting onto the cooking over here. Over here, over here. Start to cook over here. No, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to start on high heat with a ginormous stock pot. Not so much for the volume, but to have room to work. And this oil bottle here is really, really great for dispensing a reasonable amount of oil. You're not pouring out of the 5-gallon oil thing. And okay, we've got a little bit of smoke starting here, so we're going to see what happens and what doesn't happen. Okay, it's starting to go away, so I'm not going to have to go into panic mode. Yay! That's a good thing. Alrighty, remember those onions we chopped up? Into the bowl they go. Look at that. Look at that. And this is on high heat. We're going to lightly saute these guys until they're translucent. And along with the onions will go the garlic. I can remember where I put it. Oh, there it is over there. How do you like that? Over there. There's the garlic over there. That goes in. And, okay, I'm not liking the way that's doing that. It's not supposed to do that. Okay, that's going away. There might be something on the bottom of the stock pot that I didn't quite get off. Okay, it's not looking that bad yet. Let's just keep this going and keep an eye on what the burner is doing. Okay, I see that we're browning a bit quickly here. Why don't we throw in a bit more oil? I love this oil bottle. I really do. Did I mention that I love this oil bottle? Gave it to myself. Christmas gift from me to me. Really, really nice. While that's going on, I'm going to turn this down a little bit because the next thing I'm going to do is grab some water. Okay, and that's going to be about a gallon of water to start. And yeah, that's to start. Because what I want to do at this point is just get things going in enough water to keep things from burning. And we'll just adjust from there. Okay, here comes water. We're getting there. Yeah, and this may seem like a lot of onions to you guys, and if it is, you can use a couple fewer onions. Okay, no big deal there. This is pretty much to taste as it is, okay? Nothing is hard and fast, anything like that. As long as you've got the basic idea going, that's not a bad thing. Okay, turn the heat up a little bit, which I'm watching at the moment. Okay. So you're starting to release the aromatics here in the onion and the garlic, infusing the oil with those aromatics to, get all that wonderful flavor into the soup. Okay, we will let this go for a couple of minutes and get on to the next thing. Okay, so this has been going for a couple of minutes. We're starting to get to your basic translucents. And now we are going to start the water in. As I say, this is a gallon to start. And we have the onions swimming around rather nicely. And what I'll do is start the herbs and spices into this while it's still a bit, having room in there, a little bit fluid going on. And we'll start with parsley. And that's going to be about 4 tablespoons or so. Good, yummy and tasty. I like that. And then a tablespoon of oregano. Get that together. Tablespoon of basil, and it looks like I'm starting to run low on basil, so I'm going to have to go to the store and buy some eventually. Okay, and then we're going to have caraway. And what I will do is reach into my trusty dusty kitchen cabinet here and grab, as everything falls all over the place, yes dear friends, as it does, grab my trusty dusty mortar and pestle, about a teaspoon of this stuff, and I will crack and somewhat grind the caraway. I'm doing this off camera here. Basically what I'm doing is pressing down onto the caraway with the pestle, and as I do that I'm also twisting to get a nice grinding action going. Okay. Getting there slowly but surely. It's not doing all that bad at all, is it? Now, okay, with that cracked, into the soup we go. Grab that spatula, give everything a nice stir. Get that going. We're doing fairly decently here. Let's reach up and grab some salt, and maybe about 2 tablespoons to begin, because this is a lot of soup here, so don't be afraid of the salt. You'll probably end up adding more as the cooking goes on anyway. Now, okay, we've got all this stirred around in here, and you may notice that we do not yet have the featured ingredient. We do not have the lentils in there yet. Well, of course not. We wanted that to be easy to stir. That's why we did that. But now we can throw some lentils in. How do you like that, huh? These really don't need to be rinsed. These are nicely picked over and stuff like that anyway, and they're doing pretty well. So just cut the bag open. and start pouring. Yay! It's half, it's a pound right there. Get that other pound going. These will expand slightly, but not very much. They're not like beans that expand like crazy vegetables. Give that a turn, and we still have some stuff to go here. Because we still have the rutabaga. We have the potatoes. We have the carrots. And if you think that this is beginning to look more like a stew than a soup, well, there's the beauty of this recipe. Because it can easily be a stew as well as a soup. It all depends on the amount of water that you throw in here. And notice too, gallon of water, but see how full this is. This is why I used a 24-quart stock pot. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a bit more water in. I want to be able to give everything a nice stir as it cooks. So I'm going to throw in another half gallon. There we are. How do you like that? Pretty good. We're just going to toss that in there. And do a little bit more stirring. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. Let's not forget the cubed ham. Don't want to forget that. That's what makes the soup really good as far as I'm concerned. As well as the lentils. I mean, don't forget, lentils are yummy and tasty. And lovely bone here with a bunch of meat on it. And we are going to bring this to a boil. Now, you might be saying, hey Clarion, where's the broccoli? Well, the thing about it is, the broccoli doesn't take quite as long to cook as things like lentils and potatoes and rutabaga. So they're going to go in, and the broccoli's going to go in a little bit, after say about half hour or so of cooking. And of course, I don't want to forget that little bit of cayenne, just the tiniest little bit, because a little bit goes a long way, kids. It really, really does. Stir that up, and then we'll bring it to a boil. It's on high heat. It won't take but a few minutes. Alright then, so now we've got this stuff up to a boil here, and we are going to turn it down to a low simmer. And have it Let's see now. Let's try number 6 on this. We're going to have it half covered. And we're going to let it simmer for about half an hour or so. And then we're going to go on to the next piece of what we're cooking here. Alrighty then, and we've been at this for about half an hour, and things are boiling relatively nicely. And what we're going to do now is we've had the broccoli all nice and cut up and everything else, and the reason I'm putting it in now is because this stuff cooks up quickly. Within half hour, 45 minutes, it'll be ready to go. So let's just drop this in here like this. Isn't that great? And let's just get this stirred around, and we'll set the timer for a half hour again, and get things doing pretty well. Now I taste tested it earlier, and it was a little lacking. So let's throw some salt in here. A few tablespoons of the salt, because it was tasty, but it just needed a little stuff going on. So there we are. Then we'll just go another half hour and check the soup out. The rutabaga is getting nicely, starting to get nicely soft. Still not quite where we want it, but we're getting there. So let's just cover this up again, about half covered. Let it go another half hour, and we'll go from there then. I shall return, friends. And here we are with time for the taste test. I tell you, this is one of my favorite soups. It really is. The lentils are absolutely delicious, and everything that's swimming around in there, the potatoes and the carrots and the rutabaga, the broccoli, all sorts of wonderful, wonderful flavors and textures. And it's, as I say, very, very nutritious, very delicious. I'm even going to show you how delicious it is. It's time to have a spoonful. And, oh, look at that. Look at this. Alrighty, this is a little on the warm side still, so let's give it a shot, huh? Oh my. Oh my. Yeah. I tell you, this is one of my favorite recipes. It's very simple. It's good food. It's got all the advantages and none of the disadvantages. Here, let me have another spoonful. Nothing like it. So I am going to be putting the recipe for this up on my online cookbook, and I'd like you to go on there to have a look at it. That would be at declarion.fnordnet.net/kitchen, and just look under soups and stews, and you'll find lentil soup, and give it a shot. Really, it's wonderful stuff. I'm certainly hoping that you'll like it as much as I. And so until the next time that we meet, bon appetit, kids. Enjoy.